Well, if you listen to my podcasts or you listen to me, you know there's one thing that I am, and that is a Cub fan. And for a whole lot of years, I have been so proud that Freeport, Illinois has Little Cubs Field. And I am here today with the mastermind of Little Cubs Field. It's Denny Garkey. Hi, Denny. How are you?
Hello, Tim. And thank you for calling me a mastermind. That is the first time and perhaps the last time I will be called a mastermind.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So can we just, let's just start at the beginning. Can we just let everybody know, how did you come up with the idea for Little Cubs Field?
Okay, so once upon a time, we're with another couple. We're up in Black Earth, Wisconsin, at a place called Rookies. It's a sports bar. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Steve Schmidt owned it at that time, and he owns the shoebox also up there. Very popular for athletes and the general public for selling shoes. And in the back of Rookies, they have like a little wiffle ball field. It's plywood. It was rather rudimentary, but it was kind of cool. About 100 feet to the center field. Kids would play wiffle ball there. I think they had any of the patrons could play anytime they wanted. I thought that is really cool. I was just looking out the window as we were eating, and in my mind, I envisioned I go backward in time to when I'm like 9 years old. I'm playing wiffle ball in the backyard of my house, and I say, ooh, it's too bad that doesn't look like Wrigley Field. And then I didn't say it out loud, and I kind of just ruminated on it, as you say, over for the next week. And I go, I wonder if we could do this. We could just scale it down, do it with real bricks, real ivy, the whole deal. And then I ran it by my wife, and I said, Judy, here's my idea. I want to build a replica of Wrigley Field, scaled down, accurate, but smaller for like Little League, for wiffle ball, for whatever. And I want to do it in Reed Park. I know they're going to be redeveloping the diamonds down there the following year or two. That was on their master plan. I said, so I want to go forward with this. And she said, would that mean you'd have to be there a lot? Reed Park working on it and, answering questions and making plans and all that. Because I worked from home as a private investigator for 45 years at that time. And so I'm home, and she was home. And I said, yeah, I'd have to be gone a lot, back and forth all the time. She said, you should go for it.
Nice.
Win-win. I'm not home all the time then. And it's basically extended my childhood. I was always, you know me, I'm kind of a kid at heart, and I always enjoyed sports, and I still had the enthusiasm that a 10-year-old has for sports, especially baseball.
Well, I'll tell you, it's given me a lot of great memories. It really has. I think if there was a trivia question said which Connors was on the board of Little Cubs Field at the beginning, I think a lot of people would guess wrong, because it was
Becky Connors, your lovely wife.
She was on the board, but we got to be a part of it. My son, Ethan, wearing a Detroit Tiger shirt, I don't know, hit one of the first home runs out for a kid just when we were practicing. But all the memories with Harry Carey's wife, Dutchie. She came out a few times.
Right.
Marla Veck?
Mariah Veck. Mariah Veck, Bill Veck's daughter, from his second marriage, came out on the exact 70th anniversary. People don't know this, of the actual planting of Wrigley Field's ivy, done by and thought up by Bill Veck.
Right. And I know that we were all walking around, and she put the first one in, and we put ivy, and it's the ivy that you see today. That's just wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just some of the cool things that Little Cubs Field has done. My dad's passed away, but I'll never forget when Ferguson Jenkins came to Little Cubs Field, and my dad got to talk baseball with him, and my little boy got to throw a ball to him. I know Steve Trout was there, and you gave me the honor of doing the emceeing for Ron Santo when he was there, and I'll never forget that. You said I can't pay you. I can't pay you.
No.
But you get 30 minutes to chat with Ron Santo.
Yeah.
And that was worth.
And I didn't charge you either.
No, you should have charged me. You should have charged me.
Yeah.
And then of course when you got the Cubs caravan to come to I'm like a kid again talking about this. When you got the Cubs caravan to come to the Masonic Temple, that was one of the most magical nights when they went in the crystal room and everybody was there, and a Rich Hill who still is pitching, and I
think he is.
And he's like 42, 43.
Yeah. He
was a rookie back then.
Right.
But just the fact of all the things that Little Cubs Field has brought in. So with Little Cubs Field, and has it done what you've wanted it to do?
It has. I made a very optimistic. I'm an optimistic person. I made an optimistic prediction at the initial press conference when we announced what we were going to do. It was at the library. We just had some plans. We had, some people that had given us handshake agreements to do the construction at no cost, all the skilled labor. And I knew it would become not only a local attraction or a regional attraction, but a national attraction. And it has been. I can tell you all kinds of stories about people targeting Freeport to come when they're going across the country. But it's done everything I thought it would do. It brings in probably close to $500,000 into the local economy by people coming to town for the first time, coming back, renting the field later, going to the parks, getting food, so forth. So in that part, it's done. One thing I'm waiting for to jump us into the stratosphere will be to be in a major Hollywood movie as a segment about, cool. Say, wiffle ball or Bad News Bears 8, The Reckoning or whatever that would happen. And we are on the website for websites that have filminglocations.com, I think it's called. And so we're on that. So they can find us, and we hope that happens, but that would jump it more. But right now we're, the Cubs still talk about it. We have connections with the front office of the Cubs, and they've been amazing to us.
Well, you see some of the things that are up on the flagpole. I know that I'm proud to be the donator for this year's Ernie Banks flag.
Right.
And you get those. I would assume you get those from Wrigley or no?
We get them from the manufacturer who makes their flags, and they have scaled down those flags for us to be fitting for the size of our field. So yeah, that we had permission and we have licensing agreement with the Cubs to recreate anything now and in the future that they develop. Any logos that are future, we can use on the field. We have licensing agreement to use like the scoreboard, the marks of what they call the marks of the field, the scoreboard, the marquee, the bricks and ivy, all those things. We have a licensing agreement from the Cubs to do that. So
it's amazing. I was at my state speech tournament just a couple of weeks ago, or last week. Holy smokes. Last week. And this coach from Crystal Lake, he goes, Tim, look. And he comes over and he holds it up and he's like, I'm traveling, or I traveled this summer. And he goes, look, it's Little Cubs Field. And I always, because I've been around it and I know it and I love it, I always make this huge deal out of it and say, So have you ever been there before? No, this is my first time. I loved it. I rode my bike there from here. And just that opportunity for people to come in, not only to our wonderful city of Freeport, but to get a chance. The ambiance and the vibe and the feel that you've created, I'm not blowing smoke. It really feels like a major league ballpark brought down.
Yeah, there's countless stories that I've witnessed that have happened there. One was a man celebrating his 80th birthday, and they had a party, and they're from the Chicago suburbs, and he hadn't heard of Little Cubs Field. So this sounds rather distressing, but they blindfolded him and put him in a car. I shouldn't even start this, but it has a good ending.
Okay.
And they put him in the car and drove him to Freeport so he wouldn't know where he was going. And they got him out of the car, still blindfolded. I witnessed it because they said they were going to do it. And is it okay? I go, I think it is. And they put him at home plate and they took the blindfold off. And he's a big Cub fan, obviously, and all the whole family was. And he says, Grandpa, do you know where you are? And he looked out toward center field and saw the scoreboard and the ivy. It was like June and everything was popping really nice. And he says, I think I'm maybe at Little Cubs Field, but not Little Cubs, or I'm at Wrigley Field, but not quite Wrigley Field. And he says, where am I? And they told him then Little Cubs Field, and he didn't know about it. So they played a game. And here's the kicker. The guy was 80. He was a former high-end softball player. 12-inch softball. He was great. He was like, one of the best players in the region when he got injured when he's in his early 40s in a car accident. He couldn't run and he couldn't play again. So he says, I want to hit. And they're going, what? You want to hit? You haven't swung a bat in 25 years or more. And he goes, I want to hit. So we have wiffle ball bats and these soft, like balls are kind of a little bit softer than a tennis ball. And it's only 112 feet to center and 100 feet down the line. But it's still, you got to hit it really good. So he takes a few swings and misses several times. And then he rips a line shot down the right field line. And everybody's going, whoa, Grandpa can still hit. He couldn't run,
right?
But he could hit. He got his swing back. And lo and behold, after another minute, he actually hit a home run down the right field line. And everybody's just crying practically. And he's happy. And he says, I need to run the bases. And so slowly with a cane, he goes around the bases. In the major leagues now, if you run it too slow, you're going to be fined.
Sure.
Right? There was no fine involved. And so that was just heartbreaking and heartwarming to see what happened. And they had a big picnic and had a great time. And so, yeah, the whole family was ecstatic.
You have the scoreboard. You have the bleachers in left and right field, or just left?
Not right
just
field
to
yet.
Left.
We're working on it.
In left field,
Yeah.
You have the picnic area. You have the gift shop area, and so on. It just seems to me that it's an opportunity for so many people to come see it. What's going on this summer? Do you have any big stuff that's happening this summer yet, or is it just reservations?
Yeah, we're getting our master schedule together. We do have the Pee Wee Classic, which just won a tourism award for what it does for Freeport. That is a Memorial Day weekend, and it brings in 16 teams from all over the Midwest of 8 and under boys and girls that can play baseball. And it's a coaches pitch tournament. We put it out on the website that it's open for entering your team just around Thanksgiving. And by Christmas, it's filled up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 5 months before the tournament we're filled. And we've got 4 teams already on the waiting list, and there probably won't be anybody canceled. But that brings in, 16 teams, 13 kids on a team. Do the math there, and that number of hotel rooms for usually 2 nights. It's on the Saturday and Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. Also, we have the Blitzball World Series, as we call it, which is Blitzball. You can Google it, is a high-end form of wiffle ball.
Wow. With
the ball breaking 12, 14 feet, by the good pitchers. And that will be at Little Cubs Field again for like the 7th straight year. And that's in, I think, July, like the 3rd Saturday in July. So that brings teams from Texas and Florida and the Carolinas and Arizona. Teams have driven from Arizona to play. So that's pretty crazy. And then people rent the field out. There's been some inquiries about having a wedding there. You can spread somebody's ashes there if you ask us nicely. We can do that very quietly. Have a ceremony. Been done.
I saw somebody try and
at Wrigley,
and it's not nicely.
They don't They do not.
They
like
don't
it.
play. Wrigley doesn't play. I saw the individual out in the left field bleachers dump it over, and the next thing you know, there are 3 guards grabbing onto that individual and carrying him out.
Right fielders do not want to have your loved one's ashes in their hair.
No,
it never has been a thing. So don't do that.
Crazy. So how about individuals how can they get a hold of you or get a hold of someone in order to volunteer or to help at Little Cubs Field?
Yeah. We have the first I think it's going to be the first weekend Saturday in April. We'll have our annual cleanup day, so we can use help for that. Go to littlecubsfield.com. You can send a question, info@littlecubsfield.com. You just go to the website, click on the response that you want to make a contact with us, and that comes right to me. If you have a question about it, if you want to rent the field, starting in April, you can rent the field with a credit card for any day and time you want to, starting from May 1st to October 31st. So that usually kicks off a lot of people renting the field for your occasion. If you want a wedding, let us know. We'll set that up. There's protocols for that. It's a minimal cost thing. And there's all kinds of things that you can do. If you want to have a family reunion, rent the field for an entire day, we'll make arrangements for that. So yeah, let us know you want to volunteer. Let us know you want to rent it. Questions, ideas. You want to build the right field bleachers and put them in your loved one's name. That'd be great. That'll cost a little more than normal, but we have some money in that fund already.
So how about we make a deal? How about the Cubs get back to the World Series?
Yes.
How about the Cubs get back to the World Series?
It's time. 10 years.
It's 10 years. And then let's bring someone out, because think about it. In 10 years, a lot of great Chicago Cubs are now retired.
Correct.
And they can come. I mean, it's a little pricey to bring in an Alex Bregman or a Dansby Swanson.
It could happen.
But it could happen. But also you could bring in who knows? You could bring in a
Rizzo,
Anthony Rizzo.
Hey, we almost got Rizzo for a dog food commercial.
Oh my gosh.
His people called us about 4 months ago. He's the farmer's dog.
Yes.
He does those commercials.
I've seen the commercial.
And they wanted to do one of his commercials here. And then they found out he doesn't live in the Chicago region anymore. He lives in New York area. So they were going to shoot it there someplace.
Oh man.
And I'm like, so close.
Oh, if Rizzo was in this town. Oh my gosh. If Rizzo was in this town, that'd be great.
But that also means he's probably heard of it if they were running that by him. Oh, you want to run it? We want to do this at Freeport and near Chicago. Oh, I don't live there anymore, but that'd be great. What's the name of the Little Cubs field? And so he probably knows about it, and he would be the one. He'd want to come.
Sure he would. And having Anthony Rizzo come to Freeport would be outstanding.
We could get sponsors for that in a second.
We could. Denny, thank you for everything that you've done with Little Cubs Field, for keeping it going. It's always exciting to watch the little kids run and play and learn. The flags and the scoreboard and the mural and the bleachers and you name it. You've had a lot of great people help you, and also you've done a lot of great things. So thank you so much, and let's keep Little Cubs Field going until we win the World Series this year.
Thanks. Sounds like a good plan.